Hi, I want to talk to you about your vagus nerve. If you haven't already talked about your vagus nerve or read anything about your vagus nerve, it's a really important part of your physiology and it's critical for your mental and physical health and well-being. It's the longest nerve in the body, and the word vagus is Latin for the wanderer, and that is exactly what it does. It wanders through your body, connecting lots of different organs and systems and taking messages to and from the brain to those organs and systems. So it originates in the brainstem and it regulates most of the automatic functions of the body that's regulated by the autonomic nervous system. And this is the part of the nervous system that activates and becomes active when we are under stress or under threat of danger or crisis, and so on. It's the flight or fight response, which you've probably heard of. The autonomic nervous system consists of two parts, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. So when your system is under threat from a stressful situation, then the sympathetic nerve impulses become stronger, priming the body, the organs, glands and systems to deal with the situation. And when the threat has passed, the parasympathetic nervous system takes over, bringing the body back to its normal functioning and back to balance. And of course, when we're under stress or anxious or under threat for any length of time, then the sympathetic nervous system remains switched on, and that has an impact on our physical and our mental health. So where does this wandering nerve go then? So it starts, as I said, in the brainstem. So it emanates from the brain into the spine, and this is called the medulla oblongata. I know, just throw that one into conversation. And it then has two branches which runs to our ears. These are called the auricular branches. It then moves down to the throat, to the larynx and the pharynx, and this governs speech and swallowing and opening and closing of the airways. From there it moves down to the chest, to the heart and to the lungs, and then to the abdomen, where it connects to the liver and the gallbladder, the spleen and the pancreas, the digestive system, the intestines, and the kidney. And I'm going to put up a slide now which shows you a diagram of where the vagus nerve runs and the organs that it connects to. The vagus nerve is like the conductor of the human body symphony orchestra. It's the longest nerve in the body and it starts in the brainstem. A branch of it then moves to the throat, to the pharynx and the larynx, which governs speech, swallowing and the opening of our airway. It then moves down through the neck and branches of it go to both lungs and to the heart. Then moves down to the abdomen, with branches of it connecting to the liver and gallbladder, spleen and pancreas, large small intestines and the stomach, and the kidneys. The vagus pathway is a system of nerves that connects outwards from the brain and regulates all of these organs. Your organs regularly send status checks to the brain on how things are going, and they do this through the vagus nerve. If everything's going well, then the brain maintains the status quo, but if an organ is struggling, then the vagus nerve will signal that more resources are required. Now, the accuracy of this information depends on the vagus nerve being in good working order, so that it can regulate things in our body like hunger signals and food intake, inflammation, anxiety, stress, the flight and fight response, and the immune system. So how do we keep our vagus nerve in good working order? And there are 6 things that research have shown us make a great deal of difference in terms of the resilience of our vagus nerve and the messages that it's sending to and from the brain. And the first one of those is breathing, the breath. And there is a connection between respiration and heart rate that is modulated by the vagus nerve. Yoga breathing and guided meditation calm the heart rate and lowers blood pressure. And breathing exercises increase vagal tone and the functioning of the nervous system. And research shows that there is a particular sort of breathing that works really well for this. And it's called box breathing. And if you've done yoga and meditation, you'll have probably done some form of this breathing in the past. And what it involves is breathing in and holding the breath at the top, breathing out and then holding that out breath at the bottom. So let's have a go at that together. Close your eyes for this if you want to. There is no necessarily any need to do so. And you want to breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 4 and hold for a count of 4. And it's called box breathing because some people find it useful to visualize a box, one side of the box, for each part of the breath. So start by making sure you're nice and straight and your shoulders are back so your chest is open. Always helps with breath, helps to relax the diaphragm. And then breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. And we'll end the practice. So you get the idea of that. You don't need to do that for very long for it to be effective, to calm down the nervous system and activate the vagus nerve. You can do that for maybe half a dozen times is time enough. It's also a very useful breathing technique if you're finding it difficult to go to sleep or you're wanting to calm down feelings of anxiety. So that's our first way of dealing with our vagus nerve. And the second one is to chill out, literally. So exposure to cold reduces stress markers and feelings of anxiety. And research again has shown us that one of the best ways to do this is to have a cold shower. Now I can't do a cold shower unless it's really, really hot. So there is a method of doing it which isn't too painful, and that is when you come to the end of having your warm shower, turn the water to cold for 1 minute. And what you're trying to do for that 1 minute when you're under the cold water and your body temperature is dropping is to try and breathe calmly. So your body will want to breathe quite quickly because of the shock of it, keeping your breathing nice and slow. And that's a really good way of repairing the vagus nerve and ensuring that it's functioning as it should.
There is a great body of evidence that shows us that the health of our gut is quite dependent on the health of our vagus nerve, and this is because of our microbiome. Your microbiome is an ecosystem of friendly bacteria in your body, mainly in your gut, and studies show that a thriving microbiome curbs anxiety and improves mood. The vagus nerve is highly involved in the relay of microbiome information from your gut bacteria to your brain. Without gut bacteria and a healthy functioning vagus nerve, it's difficult for our brains to create new neural pathways, and this can impair memory, concentration, and brain functioning. An important factor in the communication of information from our organs to our brain via the vagus nerve is something called the myelin sheath, which I think it's useful just to make reference to. Myelin is the insulation of your brain's wiring, stopping signals from getting confused. Myelin decreases naturally with age, and some of the things that can mess with myelin production include high sugar diet, poor quality sleep, high alcohol intake, nutrient deficiencies, and hormonal imbalance. You do not need to have developed major motor problems to start paying attention to your myelin. Simple forgetfulness and brain fog can signal that your myelin is struggling. But there are things that we can do to help with the maintenance of our myelin and increase its production. And they are also things which incidentally help with and support the repair of the vagus nerve. And one of the most important of these is eating the right fats. And this is because 70% of neural tissue is saturated fat and cholesterol. So including good fats in your diet is really good for myelin repair and maintenance. Good fats include things like olive oil, avocados, and nuts. Other things which we should be including in our diet are vitamin C and collagen, iron and selenium. This doesn't necessarily mean we need to take supplements for this. We should be able to take these things in through a healthy, balanced diet that includes lots of green leafy vegetables, drinking lots of water, and some raw food. Exercise helps to decrease myelin loss, and this can lead to an improved memory and increased circulation that activates the nervous system by stimulating the body's recovery mechanism. Studies consistently show us that certain kinds of complementary therapies and meditation, including yoga, can be really useful for calming down the vagus nerve and the nervous system. Using soothing voices and visualization, gentle movement, all help to calm feelings of anxiety and stress. Certain therapies that have shown to be particularly useful are things like acupuncture, which stimulate nerve endings, massage, and in particular reflexology. And we can use some reflex points ourselves to help to repair the vagus nerve and optimize its function. And to do this, you simply need to massage down the outside edge of your ear. So starting at the top of the ear between the thumb and the first finger, just apply a bit of pressure and move your fingers down the outside edge of the ear to the earlobe. There are lots of trigger points and pressure points along the outside edge of the ear, as well as lots of nerve endings which send messages back down through the vagus nerve to the brain of balance and calm.
Next up, sleep. Having a good night's sleep. I think most of us know what the advice is in terms of having a good night's sleep, but some of the important ones are having a good bedtime routine that's regular, eliminating blue light, so that's eliminating screen time before you go to bed and when you're in bed, not charging devices in your bedroom, and not eating and drinking too late. Sleep is important for your whole system, actually. And finally, number 6, shout it out or sing it out even. And this is about activating your throat and your pharynx. And you can do that by singing, by chanting, even by gargling. Really effective way of strengthening your vagus nerve. So then, look after your wanderer, and the wanderer will look after you. See you soon. Bye.